We have John Jones versus Anthony Smith for you guys in what went full 5 rounds. And
That's right.
that was an amazing fight, honestly, for Anthony Smith to prove that he can go the distance.
Right.
This was one of the better competitive fights that we've seen for John Jones. Especially considering I like to chalk that first Gustafsson fight up to just him abusing drugs. I think, and like just partying too
Just
much.
not being in
his
the
head
gym,
wasn't
yeah.
in it. When his head's in it, this was as close as it gets to putting on a performance that pushes John to his limits as DC could.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. And
that's unfortunate considering that the total strikes were 238 to 45.
right. Which is, yeah, I can see how that.
In both title fights, the guys who lost the bout are the guys that were citing them not being able to do what they knew they had to do. Anthony Smith said after the fight, he was saying things like,
I don't know why I couldn't do those things.
I couldn't pull the trigger.
He didn't
I knew what I had
surprise
to
me,
do.
but
I told you guys what I shouldn't do, and I did all the things that I said I shouldn't have done. And I think that's something that is to be said when you're in a title fight and you just genuinely had no game plan and completely either overestimated your opponent's ability and you got intimidated, or you underestimated their ability and you just assumed it would be a walk through the park.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that point, and I think Smith showed a lot of heart, showed that he's got a lot of potential, but he doesn't, he's not on the level of the GOAT, possibly. And the GOAT showed us just how his grappling is just so dominant, and that's what I like about Jones, because everybody's so hyped up about his striking, and I agree, his striking is amazing. He's such a strategist and so technical. But also his grappling is amazing. The pressure
his clinch work, it's
amazing.
And that's the thing about John Jones. It's hard for us to even harp on it for a long time because he's just so dominant that there's nothing that you can say that hasn't already been lauded as in terms of praise.
Correct.
And I think just what's next for him, Thiago Santos is already in line.
That's what confirmed. It seems like, yeah.
So we'll see how Thiago Santos fares. His claim is that everyone's not aggressive enough and guys aren't coming in wild enough and just committing and saying, I'm willing to get knocked out to come in here. So, I mean, he thinks that's the answer. I mean, Anthony Smith said there's a lot of things that he doesn't know why guys don't exploit in the octagon against John. He has a lot of tendencies that no one exploits, and he couldn't do it himself. Yeah. So practice what you preach out here, children.
That's the point. You can have all the strategy in the world, but once you face John Jones in the octagon, I believe it's a whole different thing, and you realize how it's a different thing.
It's funny. That's the kind of stuff that Tyron Woodley would say. As soon as that octagon door shuts and locks, it's a completely different story.
Right.
That's exactly what happens for John Jones, ironically, every single time he fights.
Now, he almost got disqualified with that knee that he threw on the ground, and before that, there was like a kick, I believe, which grazed Anthony Smith on the ground, maybe. Perhaps. I didn't really watch too many replays of that. But anyways, he kind of got away with it a little bit because he could have,
that knee
definitely got
was
screwed
egregious.
over.
That knee, I just thought of it. That knee was egregious.
Yeah.
Like, that knee to the side of the head was pretty much as textbook illegal as it gets.
Oh, yeah.
And and the thing is, he could have said, you know what, I'm losing this fight. I'm probably not going to win. At that point,
he could have.
At that point, the fight's done. Like, I mean, the fight, you lost. You haven't done any damage. You're getting destroyed. And then when I think about it from that perspective, I'm looking at John Jones sitting there like, oh my God, are we having another like Matt Hamill situation,
Absolutely.
This is not good with an illegal strike. If you get DQ'd in that, you're losing the championship because you just had no discipline. That's on him. He anticipated the palm coming up because fingers can touch the ground. Palm touching the ground, you're a downed opponent. I didn't know it was as simple as that. I thought even fingers, you're down. It's palm. But so he thought he'd be getting up where it would be like the fingers were touching, where the knee would be legal. Excuse me, holy shit. We thought the knee would be legal, but John Jones got away with one there. It doesn't make him a dirty fighter. He made a mistake. Anthony Smith, Lionheart, the most appropriate moniker that he could have is Lionheart. It's the most appropriate one because he said, no, I'm not winning it like that. I want to keep fighting, and that's amazing.
Now, there's the technicality also of that knee being legal in other states, perhaps?
Yes.
With 100%. One arm on the ground, one hand on the ground. So we give him a pass. I don't
hold it against him.
Look, I truly believe that John Jones is a bit of a dirty fighter to some extent. In terms of not a dirty fighter where he cheats, well,
Herb Dean pulled him aside at one
But-
point and said, keep those dirty techniques at home.
Careful. Yeah.
Quote unquote.
Just be careful.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
He was saying to him, he looked at me and said, keep those dirty techniques at home.
Yeah.
And then John Jones
Because we saw videos
took
of
2
him
points
trying
from
to.
him. Rightfully so, took 2 points from him too.
Absolutely. That was a beautiful decision. I think nobody has
And that's
any
why
issues
Herb
with
Dean's
that.
the GOAT.
Yeah. So great job. I am okay with the way things ended up in that fight. That he didn't get disqualified, and that everything he won, and he's gonna get the big fights after that. Which is the next point, I guess. What other than Thiago Santos? Which I just wanted to make the point, which we already kind of made, that even though Thiago Santos is a wild guy, throws a lot of punches, I don't really think he's going to be exactly the same against John Jones. Because who the hell is going to come in there and be like, yeah, I'm just going to go super aggressive on this.
Yeah, you try that 360 tornado kick
Goat,
on John
you know?
Jones and see what
Yeah,
happens.
exactly.
You're going to get caught with a spinning elbow when you land.
That's what I'm saying.
This is,
That's what I'm saying.
That's not going to be the answer, but it's going to be fun. I want to see
No,
someone
I want
make
to see
John
it. I want to
Jones
see
knock
it.
them the
And
hell out.
let him fight some guys. Let him get some of those fights under his belt where we were missing him for a while with all the controversy and all that stuff. Him being away from the cage, I like him. I like that he's fighting more. And after Thiago, I think he should probably. Honestly, I don't know how much I'm sold on the DC fight. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't even have a logical kind of. Maybe because they fought already. And only kind of scenario I want to see them fight in is maybe at heavyweight, which I don't know if John would take because this is much
Not
more
right
of a
now.
problem at
I think
heavyweight.
John Jones is inevitably going to go up to heavyweight, but not right now.
I don't think so. I think he wants
He's
to
getting older, where the
that
weight's
too.
hard to shed,
That too.
and you just have to put on the pounds.
So
and
he
say
realizes that maybe he's gonna move to heavyweight regardless one day.
He will.
So he's just postponing that move for now, getting his fights in the light
whatever. Go
heavyweight.
up and down, where you can just go up one time, right?
Yeah. So I think that maybe this year in the future, I don't know. I'm such a fanboy somehow when I say this, but I want to see him fight Brock just for the shenanigans of
novelty.
it.
I'd love to see that, man.
And I'm not a Brock fan. I mean,
DC
whatever.
versus Brock is going to be like, let me take this guy down and just do whatever I want.
I
You
just
can't
want to
do
see
that to Brock.
Because
It's
when we
more
get
intriguing.
when we get a fight like Brock and Jones, it kind of like I feel like we're almost transferred in the early days of the
For
UFC
sure.
in a way because you can see that freak show element and stuff, and I love that to a point.
DC is short and stocky, and he's facing a stocky, taller guy in Brock Lesnar who's wider. But in terms of leverage, in terms of taking down, that's just technique. Like John Jones could easily get taken down by Brock Lesnar. That has everything to do with power. He has enough power discrepancy to just take him down and force John Jones into a position.
Right.
I think it would be damn interesting because John Jones would also be weighing in not at the top end of heavyweight, but at the lower end of heavyweight.
Yes.
So that would also be very interesting to me because I'd love to see John Jones against a much heavier, bigger opponent.
Which we haven't
This
seen.
is the David versus Goliath situation. It's not DC versus another guy in a weight division he's never lost in. There's a complete different narrative there. John Jones, the badass, versus Brock Lesnar, just some dude who's just always won everywhere he's gone, versus DC, who's had humble beginnings, came into the sport late, wrestler at heart. It's wrestler versus wrestler. That's not nearly as much fun as watching John Jones, some spry, gangly, long dude facing a huge behemoth of a man.
Yes. So that threesome there, DC, John, and Brock. I want to see them mix it up in the future. Hopefully, maybe not this year. Maybe 2020.
Yeah, DC's done a lot for the company, and if he wants to retire when he says he wants to retire,
That's
I
the
don't
other
know.
thing,
I don't
right?
know
He's
if the Brock
retiring.
Lesnar fight's gonna fit in there.
I don't know either. I think, and we shouldn't really go into that topic, but the Stipe
He deserves
is
it.
just lurking and waiting for
Stipe
this.
deserves the next fight at heavyweight championship. It's absolutely egregious at this point.
completely agree, but at the same
He needs
time,
to fight
I don't
again.
think
He
he's
needs to
ever
fight-
gonna
he needs
get
to fight
it
again.
with DC.
If say for
But he
example,
needs to fight again.
Say for example, Tyron does what Stipe does. They're going to be in the exact same boat.
Yeah.
You can't just not fight.
You can't just sit
You
there.
have to fight.
And Stipe
you
is
got
not-
knocked out, Stipe. Tyron, you got dominated for 25 minutes. You need to go out there and do something against another guy who wants what you had. And you need to show that you're hungry enough to not stubborn enough to go out there and earn your keep. If they're telling you you're not good enough, then go and show it. If you think you're the best in the world, you should be able to beat anybody they put in front of you.
Like in any case, even if you were to fight DC right away, and let's say hypothetically you win your title back, you're gonna have to defend it against someone else after that. Well, unfortunately, the way the cards fell on the table. It's not, the exact way you want it. But if you took that contender fight, maybe I think really one fight, Stipe. Just get one fight, wait it out a couple more months, and you might get your. I mean, I don't think wholeheartedly. I don't think you're ever gonna get DC, but I think that DC might be retired by then. You're gonna get your next title shot by then, and you can be the champion again.
100%.